Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Nadya. I'm sorry I haven't uploaded any videos lately. I decided I'm not going to upload on Mondays, but instead I'll be uploading on Fridays. And since we missed last Friday's video, today we'll be cooking the chocolate chip cookies and reading my favorite story, the Troublesome Eid Jinn. Now, before we get started on those delicious cookies, we have to wash our hands. So take off any rings or jewelry you have that goes on your hands so we can wash them. Now, first I need to rub my hands. Now let's get started on cooking. Baking. Sorry. You may want to ask an adult to preheat the oven to 300 degrees Fahrenheit. So, step 1. In a small bowl, combine flour, soda, and baking soda, and salt. By the way, you'll need 1 cup and 1/4 of flour, 1/2 cup of sugar, 1 cup of semi-sweet chocolate chips, salted softened butter, 1/2 cup, 1/2 cup of honey, a teaspoon of baking soda, and 1/8 teaspoon of salt. Now, let's put the salt, the baking powder, and the flour into the small bowl. Now let's mix it together. Be careful not to spill. Now that is mixed up, let's go to step 2. In another medium-sized bowl, blend butter, sugar, and honey together. The sugar, the honey, and the butter. And you put this in the blender. Now it's time to blend it all. After we move everything out of the way, of course. Get your blender. It says mix it at medium speed. careful not to lose anything. The next step. Yay! Time to add the flour and the chocolate chips together. And to the rest, of course. Step 3, of course, says add the flour mixture and chocolate chips and blend at low speed just until combined. Be careful while you're blending. You don't want to have things spitting out all over the place. Now that that's all blended, let's go to the next step. Drop dough by round teaspoonfuls onto an ungreased cookie sheet, 1.5 inch apart. Bake at 18 to 20 minutes or until light golden brown. Let's go. So, this might be a good way to start off. I guess we can leave this right now. Come on. Now it's time for the next two. Now the cookie sheets. Cool. Here we go. Alright everyone, now it's time to scoop and drop. Get a bit of cookie dough into one spoon, take another once it's over the tray, and put it down. Alright, now let's do the rest. That one needs a little more dough. There we go. Now it's time to put it in the oven. You might want to ask an adult to help you with this. Now set the timer for 20 minutes. We'll be back soon. While the cookies are baking, let's read the story, The Troublesome Eid Jinn. One day, Nurullah was traveling in a strange land. It was the Eid of Eid al-Fitr. He had broken his fast with water from a flowing stream, and after offering Salatul Maghrib, he sat and ate some bread from his knapsack. After finishing his meal, he thanked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for his many blessings, and after offering his Salatul Isha, continued on his journey. After walking for a few miles, Nurullah saw a sign for a village. Alhamdulillah, I'm just a few miles from the village of Kilkala, said Nurullah. I can celebrate Eid there. Inshallah, there will be delicious Eid foods, and I can listen to nasheeds and enjoy the pretty Eid decorations. Nurullah smiled as he imagined the wonderful celebrations. He quickened his pace, eager to get there. But as he got closer to the village, he noticed that there was darkness and silence. He wondered where the Eid decorations were. How strange, he declared. I can see no colorful lights. Nurullah strained his eyes and ears. I can't hear the singing and chattering of children either. Maybe I have made a mistake. Maybe it is not Eid tomorrow. Nurullah felt very confused. Finally, Nurullah found himself in the village square. The people gathered around him. Assalamu alaykum, they all said. They were so pleased to see him. Wa alaykum as-salamu wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, replied Nurullah, happy that the people were so friendly. I thought it was Eid tomorrow. It is, cried the villagers. But we don't have Eid festivals here for years. The villagers looked very sad. SubhanAllah, what do you mean you haven't had Eid festivals? Asked Nurullah in astonishment. The villagers explained to Nurullah that a few years ago, a terrible Eid Jinn had decided to come and live in their village. Every Eid, he would come and destroy all their Eid decorations, spoil their Eid food, and throw things about. Eventually, we decided that we couldn't celebrate Eid as a community anymore, said an old man. We were afraid for our children, complained the mother. Nurullah looked at the villagers in disbelief and said, "Isn't there anything that can be done?" "We don't know what to do," moaned one villager. Nurullah thought for a moment and then asked, "Where does this Jinn live?" "Next to the mosque," said a woman, pointing towards a large building. Nurullah told the villagers that he would go and speak to the Jinn and ask him to let the people celebrate Eid. No, said the villagers. "The Jinn is very powerful. Even we haven't been able to get rid of him. Please don't go near him." Nurullah began to laugh. "Astaghfirullah, la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. There's no power greater than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala," he exclaimed. The villagers said that they could not saw that they could not change Nurullah's mind. They offered him advice on how to protect himself from the Jinn. JazakAllah khairan, thanked Nurullah. But subhanallah, I have the best help right here in my bag. Nurullah put his hand into his bag and pulled out an old worn leather-bound book. He held it high above his head so that everyone could see. The villagers looked with their eyes wide open. "Ooh, mashallah, it's the Holy Qur'an," they cried. Nurullah smiled at the villagers and said, "Alhamdulillah, the best help is the help of Allah, and this is the book of Allah." Tawakkal al-hawla, trust in Allah, said Nurullah cheerfully as he waved to the villagers and walked towards the mosque. When he got inside the mosque, he made wudu and started to offer his tahiyatul masjid prayer. Just then he heard a noise that got louder and louder and louder. But Nurullah did not stop his salah. He carried on worshipping until he had finished his salah. Then he made a dua and asked for Allah's help. When he had finished, Nurullah looked around to see where the noise had been coming from. He saw the Jinn at the window. "I have come to celebrate Eid with these people," said Nurullah calmly. "Foolish boy, didn't they tell you that there are no Eid festivals in the village of Khalaqla?" boomed the voice. "Eid is a festival that marks the end of Ramadan, the Eid of the month of fasting, and it is a time of great celebration," explained Nurullah. "Why are you bothering these people, and why don't you let them celebrate Eid? I am a Jinn, And I can do whatever I like, stormed the angry voice. But you will be accounted to by Allah for your deeds, replied Narma softly. Hold your tongue, screeched the angry jinn. If you do not let us celebrate Eid, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not be happy with you, cautioned Nurullah. You should follow the Sirat al-Mustaqim, the straight path. For a moment there was silence. Then suddenly a huge gust of wind filled the mosque and pushed Nurullah against the wall. Nurullah saw a small hiding place in a corner of the mosque. He quickly jumped into the air and with two somersaults landed smoothly on the floor and crouched into the corner. The wind continued to howl, but it could not get to Nurullah. Then, just as suddenly as it had started, the wind died away and a horrible roar of laughter filled the air. Have you had enough, son of Adam? Threatened the voice. Or do you want more? Nurullah picked himself up off the ground and dusted his clothes. I see that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you a gift of moving in the air swiftly. But I'm not here to fight with you. I only want to help these people to celebrate Eid, answered Nurullah. There will be no Eid festivals in this mosque. Village, thundered the voice again. Let's make a bargain, said Nurullah. Why don't you set me a task, and if I succeed, will you let these people celebrate Eid? There was silence again. Finally, the jinn spoke. If you can stay in the mosque for 3 nights, then I will leave the villagers alone, said the jinn. Very well, said Nurullah. But before you leave, please come and sit with me. Nobody had ever asked the jinn to sit with them, so the jinn was surprised. He sat down, although he yelled about not wanting his good time wasted by weak humans. Nurullah ignored the jinn's insults and took out his worn-out leather-bound Qur'an and began to read Surat al-Ikhlas. He read it out loud in Arabic, and this is what it means. Say, He is Allah, the one and only, Allah the eternal absolute. He begets not, nor is he begotten, and there is none like him. Surah 112. After Nurullah had read the verses, the jinn asked, What are you reading, human child? I'm reading from the Qur'an, the book of Allah, answered Nurullah. I have not heard such words before, growled the jinn. Tonight you have survived, but tomorrow you will not, he thundered. That night, Nurullah fixed wooden bars onto the windows. The jinn will try to push me out the windows, thought Nurullah. But inshallah, I will be able to hold onto these bars. Nurullah slept soundly that night. The following night, the jinn returned. He was snarling, but Nurullah remained calm. Suddenly, a huge gust of wind filled the mosque again. Nurullah felt himself being pushed against the window, but he held tightly onto the wooden bars. Soon the wind died down. You are strong, human child, said the jinn. You have survived again tonight, but you have one more night to spend here. Nurullah sat down and opened the Qur'an and began to read Surah al-Falaq in Arabic. This is what it means. Say, I seek refuge in the Lord of the Dawn from the mischief of created things, from the mischief of darkness as it overspreads, from the mischief of those who practice secret arts, and from the mischief of the envious one as he practices envy. Surah 113. What is the mischief of created things, human child? Depends. Oh, now it's time for the timer to stop and for us to get our cookies. Here they are. Now we need to put them onto the cooling rack for them to cool down. These look delicious. I can't wait to try one. Alright then, now that the cookies are done, let's go back to the story. It is when the things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created rebel and cause bad things to happen to themselves and others, answered Nurullah. The jinn began to wonder about the words that Nurullah had read. The jinn then left and promised Nurullah that tomorrow night he would not be so lucky. Before the last night had fallen, Nurullah tied ropes around the mosque's doors to stop them from flying open. Oh Allah, please help the jinn and to find the straight path and to keep me on the straight path, prayed Nurullah. Soon it was time for the jinn to arrive. Nurullah placed his Qur'an safely in his knapsack. Just then, with a very powerful wind, Nurullah felt himself pushed against one wall, then another. The mosque doors began to creak. Nurullah began reading Surat An-Nas. This is what it means. Say, I seek refuge with the Lord and cherisher of mankind, the King of mankind, the God of mankind, from the mischief of the whisperer of evil, who withdraws after his whisper, the same who whispers into the hearts of mankind, among jinns and among men. Surah 114. To Nurullah's surprise, the wind stopped suddenly, and he heard sounds of sobbing. He knew it was the jinn. Nurullah remained silent for a while. Then he asked, Jinn, why do you weep? I have not heard these words before, but they touch my heart. I am not an evil jinn. I do not whisper mischief, wailed the jinn. That night, the jinn asked Nurullah to tell him more about the Qur'an and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The jinn was so pleased to hear the story of how the Qur'an was revealed to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and about Allah's mercies. La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, declared the jinn. Nurullah and the jinn set out to meet with the villagers to tell them the good news. The villagers were so pleased that the jinn had left his bad ways, and so they had a big celebration for Eid and invited the jinn. There are bright lights everywhere. Fireworks sizzled and popped. Children sang their nasheeds with excitement, and the air was heavy with delicious aroma of foods. Alhamdulillah, praise be to you, O Allah, who leads jinn, men, and men to your way. Sunnatullah. That's it. Now let's put the cookies in the bowl. Thank you. Here's how many came out. This looks incredible. Super good. I hope you liked my video. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. Assalamu alaikum.